Hey, I'm sorry I haven't been doing more of these lately. I really love doing the kind of the craft ones and interviews with friends and all that kind of stuff. But it's been crazy. As many of you know, my wife's pregnant. We were very surprised by this. Great surprise. Really excited, nervous to be a dad again in May. But it's definitely curbed a lot of things that uh, exist outside of work or family. Anyway, but I had an idea for this when I got Justice League 19 in the mail from DC. It comes out this week and it starts our new arc. And what I realized was how much work I had done in this one little window that I like to think of as this kind of golden hour between the moment you hand in your script and you get your art back from your artist, your collaborator. There's this kind of one little window where you as a writer have given in your script, you're all done with it, and then the art comes back, and you realize you can change things in that kind of one period to reflect better what you see on the page, or to be you can change it so that you take inspiration from what you see the artist has done with your story. So for me, looking back at this issue in particular and this arc, Jorge was just such a great creative partner. He is such a great creative partner, great friend, that I wound up changing quite a bit with my script. And it's honestly my favorite moment in the process of creating comics because um, I feel it's honestly the most emblematic of what comics is about. It's collaborative, where you've handed in your part, you get the other part back from the artist, and now you make something together that's organically both of you. Anyway, I thought I'd take a quick look with you and get a chance to show you kind of where I altered some of the stuff that I did because of Jorge's great work. Okay, so just to give you some context on Justice League 19, um, essentially it's the first issue in a really big arc for us. It's a six-part arc, seven if you count the Legion of Doom issue by Francis Manapul and James Tynan, which is going to be great. But it is the first time our team is back together in a while. It's sort of the penultimate arc of our saga. It sets up some really big stuff with Year of the Villain, the narrative that's going to be playing through a lot of books at DC, starting in May in our 25-cent issue, and then in July really hitting hard. And it also sets up something I'm not really supposed to talk about yet, our Justice Doom War, which is kind of the big ultimate arc that we've been building towards from the very beginning of the series. That'll happen soon after this one. So it's a real seminal piece in our kind of big opus with the Justice League. And I also wanted to read, and Jorge does too, as a really special standalone story too. So you can pick it up. If you haven't been reading the book, you can pick it up. If you have been reading the book, and hopefully it's rewarding either way. It's one of my favorite superhero stories that I've gotten to be a part of. And in all honesty, I'm really, really proud of this one. So what it's about really is that the heroes are at a point when they're losing to the Legion of Doom. The Legion of Doom has been unlocking these seven dark forces that sort of are the underbelly of the forces that we know our heroes are connected to: the Speed Force, the emotional spectrum, all these different things that are kind of associated with some of the big heroes on the Justice League have these kind of dark counterparts. And Lex Luthor has led the Legion of Doom forward in unlocking these forces and using them as a key to sort of free this huge cosmic goddess, this big bad that we've been building, Perpetua, since Metal, who's the mother of the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor and the World Forger, who's been imprisoned in the wall because the way that she initially started our multiverse was all wrong, and she used these forces in a way that she knew she was not supposed to, and created something unnatural and predatory. And so Luthor really believes our destiny is to go back to that and become the thing that we were robbed of being when the multiverse was put back the way it should have been when it began once again. So he thinks that, all our feelings of inadequacy, all our feelings of smallness, and how short our lives are and how little we understand, all of that is a sin committed against us by beings like Perpetua, who imprisoned her for having the boldness and the vision to try and create something more in humanity. And so the heroes are losing. They're desperate, but they've learned a lot. They've learned a lot of different secrets about the history of uh, Perpetua herself, the Source Wall, all of the stuff that I don't need to get into here to go down too deep a rabbit hole. But basically, this arc takes place at a seminal moment in the story. And we wanted it to be big and fun and inviting and bright, but also have tremendous stakes. So Jorge has been working on it for months. He really wanted to do an arc that was solely his. And to do that on Double Ship, he had to get months ahead. So I wrote this all the way back in September, really August, but the final draft was September. And he's doing all 6 parts. So really, really excited to have something on the shelves that's just the two of us. He's become a really close friend and an incredible collaborator. He helped so much that I'm giving him story credit on this one too. He had an amazing idea for a Superman thread that he wanted to do somewhere in an arc over the course of the next couple of years, and it turned out it fit perfectly here. It fit perfectly as a way of telling one part of our story. So he's not only an incredible artist, but he's a great storyteller as well in all respects. So very, very happy that he got to do that. So okay, so let's take a look at the script. So you probably already read this, but this is my note to Jorge about starting, how excited I am to work together, and it gives like a little bit of a preview and it catches him up to where we are. So okay, to Metropolis, right? So the script, not to be totally boring and read you the entire thing, but I think it's probably the best way to go about this one. Page 1, small detail, a dot. This is a cursor on a screen, but here it just looks like a dot. And this is where I'm going to do narration and talk about the first dimension is a dot, point, nothing more, a single point. We pull back to see it's a computer. It's Clark Kent. He's in his work clothes at his computer. We were looking at his screen. Narration at his desk right now. God, I'm really wordy in my first draft, so forgive me. Daily Planet reporter Clark Kent can sense that this moment, this point, is about to change everything, that something seismic is about to occur. Martian Manhunter telepathically calls him Superman, and immediately Clark's like, on my way. He gets up to go, but there is Perry White, Jorge, trying to give you some fun classic Superman material. Jorge is the biggest Superman fan in the world, so I really wanted to reward him with this one because the arc is really Superman-centric. It's Superman and Batman, this one. We've done one with that's really focused on Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern. We've done one that really focused on Aquaman, Mira. So this one is a really big Superman Batman story. So anyway, Perry is like, "Oh no, you don't." As Clark gets up to leave, Clark is like, "Mr. White, I thought I'd go downtown to cover the Wayne Industries air control experiment happening in," and Perry cuts him off. "That traffic jam, who the hell knows what they're doing? But you were supposed to finish that piece on that crazy alien sea god wrap up, which is, Drowned Earth, which we did last couple arcs ago." And here Clark moves at super speed, typing between seconds as Perry says the above slowed down text. "Show this however you want, Jorge. You're the best Superman guy around, to have fun. Multiple panels, multiple images of Clark with one panel, whatever works for you." And now Clark is back where he was, but a step farther along, passing Perry and saying goodbye. Clark says about a dot, or it's a period, Mr. White, at the end of a piece. It's all there, gills and all. Perry looks at the screen as Clark exits, and if you want Clark pulling his shirt open because he's entering the stairwell or something, Jorge, go for it, whatever you want. And then I'll just read you the next couple pages, and then I'll show you the art and how I changed it. Pages 2-3, Superman flying over Metropolis, a grand heroic image. Work your magic, Jorge. He's concerned here, not super smiling, but he's still being his heroic self, waving to kids, people as he streaks past. If you have ideas about him doing anything along the way that you want to have him do, like saving a dog from getting hit by a car, go for it. But he could also just be flying past the gleaming skyscape. It's sunny, warm here. It's not Gotham. Definitely not Gotham. People are in shorts, etc. This is key for what comes next. As he flies, he talks to Martian Manhunter. He asks Martian Manhunter, "Why so early?" And Martian Manhunter says the energy is off the charts. They need him there right now. Here's where we'll catch up a little bit as to what happened in the previous arc, but mostly the conversation is Martian Manhunter saying, "Hurry, because we expect the visitor," who's the surprise guest, Mr. Mixie Spitlick. That's how I've been told to pronounce. I used to pronounce it Mixaplick, but everybody says Mixie Spitlick, so, whatever. It's like Raish and Ra's al Ghul. That he's going to arrive any moment. Ahead, we see a tent dome, a good block big, like 50 meters in radius. It's a hazmat dome. High-tech fibers are inflated in there, and it says Wayne Industries on it. There are guards and security fencing outside. It's not for pedestrians. Superman enters the dome, sees inside, and surprised, it's winter inside. It's snow falling, wind, ice. The idea is that the Justice League has made the climate what it would be 70 days from now, as Mixie, I'm just going to say Mixie, only comes every 90 days, and when that 90 days comes around, it'll be winter. They're fooling him into thinking it's time to come to Metropolis because of that, and also this interdimensional call they made. Superman says, I'm here, where are you? And in front of him are plain-looking workers, 7 of them with clipboards, etc., dressed for winter. They look middle-aged and boring. Don't knock middle-age. Me. Martian Manhunter, one of the workers, says, we're right here. Wonder Woman says it's a simple spell, clangs her bracelets, and the workers are revealed to be the Justice League. Okay, so that's kind of the beginning. Let me show you now the art. Let me get this out of the way. And so this is what comes in from Jorge, right? So just you can see how incredible this dude is. There's the dot. Here's Clark at his desk. I love the way he draws him. He's just so born to do Superman, right? All the post-its for all the things he's investigating. There's Superman. Just the details. Here comes Perry White. Oh, no, Martian Manhunter calls him. Oh, no, you don't, Kent. He comes in, and then Superman's like, shoo, and as he blows the papers, clickety-clack, clickety-clack, and there he's written the thing. Look, such a perfect Clark Kent, right? So then this is where I get to this page, right, which is, I'm going to have to shrink it a little bit to show it to you. But I get to this page. Let me see if I can do this. Here. There we go. I get to this page, which is out of control, beautiful. Here's Superman flying upside down through the city. He's waving. He's going by. Sorry, he's going by people in Metropolis. They're waving. They're smiling. He does save a dog from a bus, which I love right here, which is so classic, right? And then here he is flying towards the Wayne Industries bubble. He goes inside. There's the workers. That's Wonder Woman. Where are you guys? Clang. And then all of a sudden, this amazing image of the Justice League, right? Look at that. Look at Flash. Jorge just gets the character so well. I love it. I love the way, that's Batman's smile, right? Anyway, okay, so I got this art, and the thing I kind of want to show you is that I went back to my script, and I realized a couple things looking at it. First of all, Jorge is so emotive, so it's the emotionality of and the sort of essence of who Superman is so beautifully captured in these pages that when I went back and I looked at my script, I realized I was mostly trying to catch you up. I was trying to use these pages to say, this is what's happened, and guess what's coming. It was plot. It was informational, right? It's expositional. And instead, looking at it, it felt like a shame to do that because these so captured the core of who Clark Kent is, and the arc is so deeply about that. The arc is really about the difference between where Superman and Batman are at this moment in time in the Justice League's trajectory in our saga. Essentially, not to give too much away, but Superman is he's a constant, like I tried to say in that long-winded narration. He is a guy whose moral codes are fixed, as are Batman's, but he is really the most kind of immovable, I think, in his sense of right and wrong of almost anybody on the League. Batman has suffered some losses in this not just this arc, but in other ones. And he had his arms and legs broken by Luthor. He was in a full body cast for a while. He lost the totality to the Legion of Doom. And Batman isn't really used to losing. And this arc is largely about the sixth dimension, the place that they go, is beyond imagination. Mixie is an imp from the fifth dimension. I'm going to give away more of this art because it's just so gorgeous. There he is, right? He's an imp from the fifth dimension, and he, as much as we think that he's kind of a comical character, he's actually incredibly powerful. And they think that Kendra's wings have a map that will point them there, and that's the place they need to go to fix everything. And instead, he says, no, you actually need to go to the sixth dimension, but not before he causes some trouble and animates all of Metropolis, and Metropolis attacks the Justice League. So, but the arc is really about them going to this dimension that exists beyond imagination where they're not supposed to go because it's really only for super celestial beings. It's sort of the control room of the multiverse that's almost only accessible to us at moments of tremendous emergency in the multiverse itself. And so Batman, who's been sort of really doubting himself because he keeps losing for the first time in a while, and the League keeps losing, feels that every time they keep reaching higher for these bigger solutions to the problems of the multiverse, instead of just going after the Legion of Doom or doing something grounded, um, they're opening themselves up to lose on an even bigger scale. And so he's almost the kind of counterpoint to Clark in this one. This is a big Superman Batman arc for us, where Batman is at a point in his thinking where he's really starting to wonder if they're going about this the wrong way and maybe they should change their methods. And Superman is really adamantly at the other side of the spectrum. So here, let me show you now. So here's the art again, right? Beautiful. Now I'll show you what I did. So I was looking at this and I was thinking, this page is pretty similar from what I did in script, but at the same time, I wanted to start to get more of a kind of not conflict, but just start to set up the idea that Superman and Batman are the stars of this, and that they're going to be the kind of emotional counterpoints, right? So I tried to do it. I wanted to do a little bit of humor, but also just set Batman up as the kind of foil for Superman. So I'll show you the finish now. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is. All right. The simplest dimension is defined as a single point, constant and unmoving. Usually Clark Kent finds solace in such things. This office, this home. He is a man of constants, but this morning he feels restless, then the call comes. And instead of Martian Manhunter, so what I did was I made it Batman, right? Clark, it's Batman. Martian Manhunter did it. We're counting down. On my way. Now here he comes. Oh no, Kent. Not until you finish that wrap up on that nutso alien sea god attack. Mr. White, I was just going to cover the Wayne Industries air control experiment happening at that mess. It's all classified anyhow. Wayne's strutting into town with his damn muscle and his damn muscles. And then, Clark always taking a dig. I told you he pads his suits. Now all I see on that screen is a flashing dot, which, look at that beautiful artwork. And then tick-tock, tick-tock. Which can be a period, marking the end of a piece, Mr. White. It's there, gills and all. What the? Drowned Earth? That is catchy. Anyway, here, so I'll show you Justice League. Here, let me show you the next page, because here we go with that. And you can see, here it is. Unfortunately, it's cut, so it's not a spread in the way that you see it here. But I will try and make it coherent for you here. Okay. So already I changed it so that it's Bruce and it's Clark talking here. I wanted to set up the kind of emotionality of it. But the real kicker came when I looked at these pages, right? Just in art. If I go back to them just here, let me see if I can pull them up again in art. Yeah. Just looking at this page, it was so hopeful and so sort of almost just quintessentially Superman. It made me feel like this was the moment to set up the beginning of the emotional arc and the beginning of the conflict between him and Batman, instead of having him just talk facts with Martian Manhunter. And that really is just a tribute to Jorge's art. So here, this is all Martian Manhunter links their minds, so this is all like telepathic conversation. I don't know if you could hear our cat, but we have two cats. One is seven toes on one paw and six on the other, Rocky, and the girl, Biscuit, just never wants to be put downstairs at night, which she has to be, so you'll probably hear her meowing. But the way we got them not to go down a rabbit hole is when we told Jack, our older kid, that we were pregnant, he started to cry and said, "We're still getting a cat, right?" I was like, yes, we're still getting a cat. And then later I was talking to Jeannie, my wife, and I was like, when the fuck did we ever talk about getting a cat? And she was like, I don't know. I don't remember talking about getting a cat. So I can't tell if he conned me or what, but now we have two cats, which is great, but whatever. So this is the telepathic balloon. Talk, Bruce. I can practically hear your heartbeat from here. What is it? Here's Bruce talking back. Take your pick. Here's a little bit of information, right? We just lost the source wall. The multiverse is hurtling towards some cosmic dissolution. We're hiding it from the world. I wanted this to say, see everything in Justice League so far, but Marie was wiser. See Justice League Annual. And then Clark is like, what is it really? Because he knows Batman that well as he stops this, right? And heroically hands the dog back. It's this plan. Here it comes. Look, if we can track Luthor and the Legion here on Earth, we can take them down, use what they have. These repeated attempts to unlock huge cosmic truths, harness them. Everything is changing right now. And then Clark says, accept us. It's how we win, Bruce. I know you believe that, Clark, but this is, Bruce is starting to kind of push him, but he says, we stand for something, Batman. People see us and they immediately recognize, wait, where are you guys? We're right here, Superman. Clang. And then here they are. And it was just so much themselves that I added dialogue to it. I loved it. We didn't want to attract attention, says Wonder Woman. Zatanna taught me a simple spell. Effective, eh? And then he just looked like he was almost dunking on Superman. So I had John say, I mean, we could have all just worn glasses. And he laughs, because he's a good sport. He can take it. It's good to be back together, guys. Yes, it is. So are you ready to do this? And then not to give too much of the issue away, but here comes Mixie. And in my script, honestly, sometimes the last thing I'll say is, so here, I stayed out of Jorge's way. I just wanted it, I can be wordy, but I just wanted it to be really, really, just kind of, I guess, just give his art a spotlight and not get in his way at all. But let me just show you, just as an example, because I did another video that was about scripting and that stuff, and I just want to see if I can go back to the script for a second. Here it is. Okay. So when we get to the Mixie scene where Mixie gets here, he starts animating Metropolis, right? Outside, the buildings begin to animate. They come to life evilly. Huge monsters of stone, da-da-da. But I didn't put any dialogue in here, right? I did a little bit like Barry, Green Lantern is like, no, Barry, da-da-da. But it's mostly just giving Jorge room, 6 to 9. This is what I talked about when I did the video between the difference between Marvel style and full script, or outline and full script. This is a combination. I do some full script and I do some outlining like this because it's what Jorge likes. So again, always talk to your artist, figure out what they like, and go from there. But I just left it. This is what I mean, like this golden hour is what I like to call it, or like, magic hour, that kind of thing, where the art comes back and you just leave yourself room to be inspired by it. That's what I did with this. So when I do actually get to it, here, pull it back in, it was just so great. I just didn't even want to mess with it. So, Mixie is of course like, oh, you thought this would trap me, because they pull a trick on him where Martian Manhunter is psychologically making him say his name backwards in his head so that he can't really do anything powerful. But he's like, oh, you thought that would work? Well, this cage might keep the city safe from me, but who's going to keep you safe from the city? Ha ha ha. And then the buildings come to life. And it was just so cool and beautiful. I just left it alone. Rarg, and this thing. And the only line I added, just looking at it, was Batman saying, your building just ate my building, Superman, which is one of my favorite Batman lines from the arc. But again, I won't go on too long. I'm learning my lesson about making YouTube videos that are hours and hours and hours. But the thing that I would say to you is that if you have one takeaway from this, it's that comic creation, especially as a writer, is meant to be deeply collaborative. Don't sort of write your script and then never look at it again. I mean, if that's how you want to work, go for it. But honestly, for me at least, that special moment when the art comes back and you have the opportunity to look at it and be re-inspired by what your artist has done to elevate your story, that's such a great moment. And it only exists in comics, really, as a collaborative space. And I just think you'll get better work out of it, So I would just encourage you to try and take that opportunity and have fun with it. You know what I mean? Make something that's so organically the two of you, by giving it that room to breathe when you get your art back and you have a chance to re-examine it and change it. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoy the arc. We're really, really proud of it. Yeah, thank you again. I hope you subscribe and enjoy the channel. Let me know. I'll try and do more of these videos, but again, I have like so little time right now for anything that isn't like family stuff and baby preparation and the work that I'm trying to get ahead on, so that I don't have to take too much time away from stuff. Anyway, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it.